Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Hey, welcome to Geek Fruit Retcon, where we travel back in time to a previous episode from our inglorious history on the Geek Fruit Podcast. Happy listening, you nerds.
Hi and welcome to Geek Fruit. You're listening to me, Tejas, and I have Jishnu also here. Hi, Jishnu.
You don't have me.
Actually, that's true. I don't have you, but
You're not the director of me.
I don't own you. So, Geek Fruit, this week in July, we are talking about a number of things because there's no one thing in particular that we could talk about. So we decided to take a break and talk about video gaming, or app gaming, or mobile gaming, or is there any other name for it? That's it. That should cover it.
There are a couple of things coming up, movie and television-wise, that are really exciting. But we've been talking about
Do you want to
movies
count
and
it off?
TVs
Like
quite a bit.
what we have coming up for people who are listening? Like few movies are coming out in the subsequent weekends.
So obviously we have Ghostbusters, which I am
Super excited for.
ludicrously excited for.
Yes.
That is about a week away for us right now. We have Star Trek,
Star Trek Beyond.
which I am cautiously optimistic
Directed by
for.
Justin Lin, director of Fast and Furious, but
Written by Simon Pegg, which is why I'm cautiously optimistic, because the trailer was nothing but explosions. But
also
hey,
good idea
I
to
have
be
faith in
cautiously optimistic for all these films. Even the one following that is Suicide Squad on the 8th of August.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be interesting, I hope. Do you think they would have had enough
It'll be
time?
interesting. No
Yeah.
doubt it'll be interesting. That
Yeah.
they can guarantee.
Do you think they have had any time to kind of maybe edit the tone or the feel of the film based on the response to Batman vs. Superman?
I hope so.
I don't know. Is it possible? Because they
I'm sure.
wrapped shooting,
I'm sure.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
But what? They changed the color of the grade to like from black
from
to
black to
light
like a
black.
light
Gray.
magenta.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that they must have made some modification. Maybe like less serious, more fun.
Maybe.
Less fun, more
And
serious.
also, I guess,
I don't know.
based on the characters within the movie itself, like, with Harley and with the Joker and stuff like that, and they're kind of all whimsically eccentric anyway,
Yeah.
so I think that might play off as a little lighter.
I again cautiously optimistic. This will not be anywhere near as
What
morose.
what if it turns out to be
as TV is.
insanely good, though?
I hope so.
Yeah, that would be strange,
fun.
right?
But honestly, I've said this before. The one thing I'm most interested in seeing
Yeah.
play out is Will Smith in an ensemble cast
Is this
where
true?
he's not technically supposed to be
Wait.
the main guy.
Has Will Smith been in an ensemble cast film before?
Not since.
Never? No.
Not since
Not Independence Day?
That wasn't an ensemble cast.
Well, that's the movie that stopped him from being in an ensemble cast anyway, because he became a breakthrough star from that. Yeah,
exactly.
So,
But since then, I don't know if he's been in an ensemble movie.
I don't know, 7? But no.
Worth
that's-
mentioning, at least. I mean, and I'm not counting like animated voices. If has he done anything? He must have done something.
I don't know. Okay, we'll check on this in the
I
break.
don't know.
But yeah, I don't think so. So,
Anywho.
Will Smith playing Will Smith, but with others this time.
Would you agree
Yeah.
that we said this once about when we talked about Harrison Ford? We said that
Whose birthday it is today on the time of this recording.
Is this true?
He's 74 years old today.
Oh damn! Is he
Yeah.
older than Paul McCartney? Yes.
No.
By oh no,
Paul McCartney's older.
he's like what 76 maybe.
It's so strange to think that Harrison
Oh.
Ford and Paul McCartney are roughly the same age.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Anyway,
Sorry, go ahead.
What was I saying? I was saying that so when we talked about Harrison Ford, we said that it's more like Han Solo
Yeah.
is a good Harrison Ford than Harrison Ford plays Han Solo well.
Correct.
It's more like Han Solo is just Harrison Ford, and they just happened to get lucky that they found Harrison Ford to play him.
They found many Harrison Ford roles for him to play. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that problem will become upon
Will Smith?
Will Smith. Will I feel like I'm just watching him being like Will Smith and being a badass and just like saying one-liners because he's a
One-liners.
badass and
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Like, will that get in the way of him being that character? Because I mean,
I don't know, man.
I haven't seen him. It's been a while. Not since like movies like Ali and Pursuit of Happiness have I seen him like
Love that.
really.
Even
like,
iRobot, one of my favorites.
yeah,
I
a little
really
bit,
like that
a little
movie.
bit in iRobot, not as much as Ali and Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
Although, because those were just far more serious. Like, not since those movies have I seen him like completely
Immerse himself.
into a character
Fair
where
enough.
he's separated from
7
being Will
pounds?
Smith. I haven't seen 7 Pounds. I've heard a lot of good things. Is it good? Is it?
You can so for £7 in the first 10 minutes you'll either be able to guess what the ending or not. It's that kind of film. And if you
And
guess
will
it,
I not enjoy it if I guess it?
kind of not.
Oh, okay.
That's what happened to me. So, but it's cool. Like, it's still a good movie, I felt, but like a little bit of a stretch. The other movie that came out with his co-star in Suicide Squad, Focus. I don't know if you saw that with Margot Robbie.
With Margot Robbie. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
no, I missed that as well.
It looked like Hitch, but with guns. It really had the vibe of just
Hitch
him
with
being
guns?
Hitch. Yeah, Hitch, Sans, Kevin James, more guns.
Sounds
Great.
Sounds great. Sorry,
I'm glad
Kevin
they made
James.
it. Like, okay.
No, but yeah, I didn't see that. I did love Hitch. I mean, like, I'm a huge fan of that for the simple reason that I bought. That was one of the few UMD. You know what UMD is? A Universal Media
Weapons
Disc.
of Master. No.
No. A UMD is a Universal Media Disc. That's what they used to insert into a PSP, like a PlayStation Portable. And so that was one of the few movie UMDs that I had. I had Hitch and I had Audioslave Live in Cuba.
What?
Yeah, and yeah.
How was that?
Amazing. I love, like, I'm a huge Audioslave fan, so that was a must buy for me. Because
Was that the Revelations tour?
it was before Revelations, but
Wait,
no,
was it-
original Fire was in which album? Revelations, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So then it was after that, and they were, I think, the first band to play Cuba after a very long time or something like that. And it was a free concert, so it was like some 30,000 people. It's nuts. It's like it's crazy good.
Well,
Yeah, one of the better ones.
that would have been random newsworthy. Anyway.
This is true. But yeah, so I had Hitch on UMD, and like I've watched that movie like a million times. So yeah, I love that movie. But yeah, so we're talking about Will Smith clearly.
Somehow.
Yeah. But let's take a break from Will Smith. We'll talk about some of the people who listen to this show. Amil Satvedi, not first time listener. Many time listener, many time writer as
He's
well.
written before.
Yeah, he's written before.
Thanks,
he says this is his response to our last episode, last episode, which was about Game of Thrones. Season 6. He says...
Wait, before you read it, I
Yeah.
will say that I saw the email.
Yeah.
I read the first couple lines. He's
Yeah.
like, hey, great, blah, 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 very complimentary. I was like, very appreciative. And then he said, I'm going to tell you where you went wrong with Game of Thrones, which is great because
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
he did say this.
That's what we welcome. We want to know when, you have
he said,
a correction to
and
make.
I quote,
But what did he say? Yeah.
You guys were almost to the point with most things.
Fair
These
enough.
were some things that were incorrect.
Yes, and then he says,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, and then I scroll down, and it's a giant wall of text.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
true.
well, you said spoiler alert, so I guess I'm not going to read
Real
this.
bullet points, bro. Okay, cool. And I'm just gonna skim through what
Yeah,
he said. Basically, when we spoke about Cersei, he's kind of. I'm just gonna read out the best part of this
Sure,
whole thing, which is like, I mean, she loves herself to the point where the only person she enjoys having sex with is her twin, which is basically her having sex with herself. So that was his point.
Sure.
It was about, like, I guess, about a lot of other stuff, but this was my favorite part. Point number 2, Varys being the ninja. There's a theory that he might not be a man. Well, this
The
is
mermaid
made clear.
theory.
Yeah,
we
the
heard
merman
that
theory.
was
Yeah.
hilarious.
People think he's a merman,
Yeah.
a merlin. Okay.
Like the wizard?
Yeah, people who are known to be experts at manipulating humans. Okay, he could be from House Manley. That's the other thing that he brings. And he's hyperlinked that. I will check out that link later on. Emil, third point and final. You guys were talking about breaking the wall. There is a way to break the wall. This is a good point actually. He says in the books they talk about a horn, also known as Jarman's horn. That has the ability of breaking down the wall. This horn is hidden somewhere beyond the wall. The last time the horn was blown, the giants were raised. The next time it will break the wall. In addition, this is a good point, the horn is on the cover page of the next book, Winds of Winter. This is interesting. I don't know they revealed the cover.
Yeah, I mean, the cover's been out for a while, I think.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean,
That
that's
image-
the only thing.
That image is...
Yeah, so that's
I know it
pretty
well.
interesting. So that might make
So-
its way to season 7.
Let's hope.
Yeah, cool. Thanks
Thanks
for
for
writing
that,
in,
man.
Emil.
That's cool.
Anybody else? If you have any more thoughts, and if you want to incorrectly or correctly correct our incorrectness,
Interject.
yes, please do so. Send us mails. Bullet points would be appreciated. Taking a note from the Superior Show on IGN. But yeah, so we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about mobile gaming, because we have some time to kill before these movies come out. And the first one, which is clearly on everybody's phones and minds, Pokémon Go.
Hello there, my name is Naveen Narona, and as a gay person in India, I get asked a lot of stupid questions.
Beta, is it LGBT or eligibility?
How do two men procreate?
Bro, is Grindr better than Tinder or what?
We answer all these questions and much more on my podcast, Keeping It Queer, where I talk to individuals from the LGBT community in India and learn about their personal stories. Catch new episodes of Keeping It Queer every Monday on Audioboom, iTunes Global, SoundCloud, YouTube, or generally any of the podcasting apps. In fact, you can now download the IVM podcast app and listen to it. Happy listening.
Hello again.
And you're listening to Geek Fruit
They know.
with Tejas and Jishnu. I know they know.
Don't undermine their...
Don't underestimate their intelligence.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We're talking about Pokemon Go. Tell me your history about Pokemon, Jishnu.
There's not much to tell. I know nothing about it. I understand that they are things you
What do you
put
know
in your
about
pocket.
Pokemon? Tell me about what you know about Pokemon.
You play with balls and you put them in your pocket, right?
Cool. That sounds accurate.
Isn't that the... Okay, explain this to me.
Yeah,
so
okay.
there is no end game, right? It's just you collect...
Oh, Jishnu, please tell me the end game for Contest of Champions.
Spoiler alert, we're going to get there.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
That was like my master plan to like tie everything in together. Life has no meaning.
This is
Nothing
true.
we do has any consequence.
App gaming has absolutely no meaning. It has no end.
It has no end game.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no end. It's like Dr. Manhattan saying, at the end of Watchmen, he says, I hope it all turns out well in the end. And he's like, there is no end, bruh. Okay, I may be paraphrasing, but maybe there's no bruh at the end, but he just says, there is no end. So similarly, app gaming, there is no end. It is merely a time killer.
So
And
how's the game work?
We have the ultimate time killer.
I never even touched a card. All my
Just
friends
let me tell you about my story
as
of how
kids
I got into Pokemon.
playing it. I don't want... Yeah, go.
Okay,
tell me.
Pokemon it was just like a trading card game, and there were already trading card games that everybody were passionate about, like Top Trumps and WWE.
Yeah,
and all that
that's
stuff.
what I did. I played
Exactly,
like
pretty
trump
much
card
cricket,
games.
and everyone
like
used to-
that.
So
Nonsense.
just there was a smart bunch of people who took advantage of the fact that kids love playing with trading cards before touchscreen stuff were invented, and
course, yeah.
we needed physical, tangible stuff to actually play in the bus and in transit and for kids and stuff like that. And yeah, man. They just took that and made a game out of it.
Okay,
and
so wait. So then
they made
verify this to me.
Pokemon.
I've asked some people since the game came out, and a lot of my friends have already started playing it. Even though
Right.
technically,
yeah.
as of right now, it's only been like a week since it's been out,
Yep.
and it's not available in India yet. Yet there are ways to get it.
It's
You
only
can-
available in 3 countries.
Exactly. So but there are ways. You have to change your app store.
No,
and you can,
you
things
have
like
to
that.
change
You
your
can
app
get
store
it.
for the iPhone, for
Yeah,
iOS,
yeah.
and you can just download the APK
So
for
I've
Android.
asked a bunch of people
Yep.
about the origins of Pokemon, because I know this obviously there are cards, there are video games, there are movies, animated shows, etc., etc. But was it originally just a card?
It was a
thing?
trading card game.
It was just a trading card
Yeah,
game.
and basically
which just
each
exploded.
it was each card would have like they all have
Values
clans and
and
values, just like any kind of
Sure.
RPG kind of game,
Yeah.
but physical RPG.
Yeah.
And yeah, people made a big deal out of it because actually most of it around the world was just the habit of collecting the cards. It was not even actually playing the cards. I played the
Yeah.
game, the actual trading card game, where
Yeah.
you have to use hit points and and use attacks and
Yeah.
use some cards against other cards because they had weaknesses, things like that. So that was the real game, and that was played in like tournaments and competitions. But for most people and for most kids who weren't, I think, at the level to kind of really grasp the intricacies of playing a trading card game as complex as it was, kind of got into the habit of just collecting the cards, and then the value of the cards became like
A lot of my friends
a
had
thing
those
in
giant
school.
books full of
Full of
cards,
albums they would just
Albums,
make yeah. And many a card was stolen and became a big deal in school. Yeah. It was sad. I had my own collection, and
So I was wondering, I think that because of trading cards and the success of Pokemon and the fact that it sustained itself for quite a while through the 90s, around the time when digital photography became a thing and people stopped having to like physically print out film printed photographs, therefore photo albums became redundant. And then I found that like the only photo albums you'd see in a house were people that collected Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
You know what I
really?
mean? Because like,
I mean, yeah, sure,
you
they had
never
a use for
them.
it.
Like, Because like think about it, all physical photos you
But I
have
think it
these
happened
days.
at
If
the
you have a
same
photo
time.
album, it's baby photos, right? From like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And then your entire life post age 10
Has been documented
in
online.
some digital form in some way or the other, like in really crappy early digital form. But
Oh, wow, I haven't even really thought about how albums had replaced. Well, it's true.
like CD booklets, like those
Yeah.
were the new albums, like that whole zip folder thing.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
longer had physical photos; they had either CDs or Pokemon cards.
Yeah, it's true.
That was
Yeah. And I remember there was also a big deal about how, some cards were fake and some were original.
Yeah, what do you tell?
I think it was whether you could, I don't know, it's not about like how people raise 500 rupee notes. That's so offensive, my God, by the way. When you give them a 500 rupee note and say, hey uncle, can I have some change? And then the guy just takes it, looks at you and then puts it in the light and just like, basically he
They never
doesn't
do that
trust
for
you.
anything shy of a 500 note. I've never seen anybody do
Yeah,
that for
because
like
I mean, I
100
think
or-
the most counterfeited notes are 500 notes and 1,000 notes, I guess.
What would you do if somebody like said, "Hey, this is counterfeit"?
It's happened to me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It's happened to me. I had a fake note once. I mean, like, not that I produced it.
That's what you say.
But
whether or not I believe you.
why would I have one counterfeit note, Jishnu?
You look shifty.
Yeah, which is why
I can't see like half your face behind that mic. I don't know what it.
And what about you? You look like Wilson from Home Improvement right now because
that's amazing. He's so wise.
Because you can't see your face. That's why. Jishnu.
I know, but he's.
My point is,
I learned so much from him.
But you're actually like Wilson from House. I've always said that you remind me of him. Anyway, besides the point.
I still don't understand why.
You don't watch House?
No, of course I do. I just don't get it.
Cool.
Anyway.
My point is, so fake cards and fake money. By the way, one more digression.
Oh, God.
Man, that question in Slumdog Millionaire keeps bugging me.
Oh, which one?
The
one
the
1,000 rupee note. Who's
on
the
face of the 1,000 rupee note? It's Gandhiji.
Yeah.
Of course, he's on every damn note.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why was that such a big deal?
And it was like a 50,000 rupee question or something.
If like you had to count 50,000 rupees in cash notes, Gandhiji would be on all those notes,
What I equally love as stupid is when he meets the blind kid after he's been blinded.
Right.
And he's like begging on the street.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, Jamal! Oh, kiska picture hai uspe?" And he's like, "Oh, some old dude with long hair." He's like, Benjamin Franklin. He's like, they all wore wigs. All American dead presidents except for Lincoln had wigs.
One second, question.
Maybe Hamilton.
Question. No, but Benjamin Franklin also didn't have a wig, by the way, because he had long hair.
They all had long hair.
He had long hair. And
Washington
he was bald
had long
also.
hair.
He was bald, so he had.
So he didn't say bald. If he said bald, okay, fine. But he said long hair. Long hair means
he did have long hair.
Yeah, he did.
But he was also bald. It's one of those double scenes.
So he could have like gone one step further and really clarified this. He just had long hair.
Dude, if he was asking Jamal picture kiska and all that stuff, I don't think they were going to go into such specifics.
It's gritty realism, Danny Boyle.
Pay
attention.
Yeah. Coming back, Pokemon Go. You've not played it yet, have you?
I haven't Pokemon gone at all.
Okay, cool. You have not left.
I will not be leaving that.
Okay, cool. We should try it out though.
I have.
Actually, you know what? Maybe
I don't need another thing to suck my soul out.
Yeah, because we have two, which we're going to talk about now.
Yeah.
But let me just, for everybody who hasn't...
So you've played it?
So for all the Jishnus out there, of course I've played it.
Just real quick, give them the stuff.
For all the Jishnus, and these are very, very few, if you haven't played Pokemon Go, what universe are you living on? Like, in, actually, not on. Well, technically on, but technically in. Anyway, coming back. Pokemon Go is a very, very simple app. Actually, I think everyone's had this idea before, which is augmented reality in the real world, playing a game in the real world. I think they just fused that with a very, very popular brand and kind of brought everybody's youth back. So, it brought everyone back to their youth in this case. But lots of kids are playing it. Lots of people are going to all the congregation spaces, like in the US and in New York and what did I say? New York? Sorry, Canada, in the US, and I think New Zealand or I think Australia. These are the few places where they're having Pokemon Go available as the official.
It'll be out in Asia in a matter of days. They've announced.
Yeah, I suppose. But so here's the thing. The funny thing is that over there it's been formatted for the places that they're in. The maps are formatted so that they can make congregation points which are actual, where lots of young people, maybe the target audience would actually go to. So like libraries and museums and things like that. But here in India, the problem is they're just going by an algorithm. So it's like most of the places where you can collect Pokemon are like mandirs and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's really funny and like
I was at Phoenix yesterday. A friend of mine was playing it.
Are there any at Phoenix?
Apparently, Palladium is a
hotspot.
I'm
not surprised. Yeah, it's a lot of footfall. People playing Pokemon Go. But yeah, man, so it just made sense for a brand like, Nintendo's brand. But the really cool thing is about the guy who invented, I can't remember his name, man. This is terrible research, but like I can't remember his name. But the guy who invented Niantic, the company that it's been a really long journey for him to kind of create this game. It's like been 20 years of him first making Google Maps. The guy who is behind this game is also the guy who gave Google Earth to the world and then subsequently Google Maps and things like that. So that guy kind of started working on map technology and things like what Foursquare was on, like what was based on at the time and stuff. And then like now across 20 years, then he kind of met with Nintendo and the guys who own the IP to Pokemon, and then they fused it. And now like 15 years later, this is the game now. And so yeah, naturally it makes sense that it's like exploded. It's got more users than Tinder. It's almost approaching like the number of people who have downloaded Twitter. So that's kind of bizarrely popular. And do you think it's going to die down, though? Do you think it's going to fade? Is it just a fad? I don't know.
I mean, no, I think that it's just opening the gate for more augmented reality. I feel like if it'll die, it'll be because there's another augmented reality thing
Maybe
around the corner. Because it's a great system. I mean, if nothing else, it gets people out of the house, and that's great.
That's true. There's a lot of stuff. So like, there's
no
one of the
complaint
things
about
is that everybody gets eggs and stuff, and you can hatch these eggs, but only once you walk a certain distance, like 10 kilometers.
Yeah, a
so
friend of mine
like
is
thing?
posting things like he's like, "Yeah, I did a 10-mile bike ride, and I just hatched a such and such," and I was like, "That's good for you, I guess."
Oh. A such and such would be the Sachin Pokemon. Moving on. Here's the other thing though. I saw this other really funny video about a guy who's like, "Hey, are you too lazy to walk for Pokemon Go? Here's what you can do with your phone." And he ties it to his ceiling fan. It kind of goes round and round. So that's one thing he did. The other thing that he did was he put it on his turntable. And if you keep it on your turntable, it kind of walks the distance for you. It's crazy. It's nuts. But yeah, people will resort to very interesting measures to kind of make sure that they win this game.
But so just tell me really quick. I've just glanced at the UI of it.
Yep.
And I've mainly seen the UI when it's like in map mode of it,
yes,
right?
yeah.
So I mean that's just a map.
That's pretty much the UI. That's the main.
But then all the
interface.
pictures I see of people like like taking a photo on the street and then there's a random whatever in the middle of the road.
How does that happen?
Not how does it happen? Does it actually, is it clunky at all, or is it pretty seamless and smooth?
It's quite seamless. I mean, like, so they've tried to make the entire process of catching the Pokemon also an art form. Like, as in, like, it's also a thing that you need to.
You have to get a skill.
You have to
like, practice at it. Yeah.
You have to be quite skilled in that, because like some of the Pokemon, if they're like aerial, they move around, they flap about. Some of them keep moving, so you have to kind of focus. And also, some of them move backwards and forwards in the general 3D space.
Sure.
So yeah, you have to kind of basically swipe it in such a way the Pokeball catches the Pokemon. You have to swipe it at the distance. It's like playing that game Paper Toss. I don't know if you ever played. It's like tossing a piece of paper into a bin. It was a very simple app that came out a long time ago. It's pretty much that.
So
Paper Toss.
Basically, I guess what I'm asking is like this being the first, arguably, I think the first major success as an augmented reality system. Does it seem clunky at all? Does it seem like it's still like a beta version of augmented reality?
I think the maps, the map UI, basically that is still very clunky, because even if you're in one place, suddenly it starts moving about by itself. So yeah, there are a bunch of glitches. Also, I believe it's because we've not kind of we've not formatted for our streets and everything properly. That's why most of them are temples and things like that. So yeah, I think once it gets its, and yeah, it's just like the first week, as they said.
Yeah.
It's not very difficult also to understand. Like the app is so simple. Like the game is ridiculously simple to understand. Like it's literally walk about, find places where it says a Pokemon is there, go catch the Pokemon.
I'm curious, like what the main
goal is.
The goal you said is to catch them all.
Is to catch them all, sure, but like I hope there are battles and stuff like between Pokemon like trainers. Like if once you cross a certain level, you become level 5, you become a trainer and stuff. So there should be like an element of like fighting your Pokemon versus other Pokemon. I think that is the ultimate thing. So it kind of reminds me a lot of this guy's book, man, Ernest Cline's Ready Player One. It's very much in that space of like we are living in a virtual reality and we're trying to catch things or collect items. It's very much in the space of that. It just reminded me a lot of that. So yeah,
I'm curious about. I should look up some data. It's been long enough, I guess, that there's enough data of this. Like what the main age demographic for this is, because if it's people in our age in their 20s, then it's clearly people that are like going off of the nostalgia vibe and sort of reminiscing about when they used to play. But then if it is as simple to use as you say, I wonder like how many like actual kids who were the same age we were when we were playing the card game.
Definitely.
How many of them have like is this this is their introduction? But I'm wondering like if the numbers add up and show that there are a lot of kids that are playing it, or is it just mainly a bunch of adult males?
that would be crazy.
Yeah.
There's been already a number of incidents regarding this game. It's barely been a week.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's one.
I've seen like armed robbery.
One person like stopped traffic on the middle of a highway or something like that.
Has a death happened yet?
Yeah, death. No deaths, but somebody discovered a dead body while playing this game.
Somebody found a foot. I read.
Yeah, somebody found a dead body also. Well, that's one thing that happened. We were having a conversation earlier with like a couple of people, and they were just saying that there are a lot of kids who are going to be playing this game, and you don't know what kind of kid would just run off just to find a Pokemon from their parents. If they're in a crowded place and stuff like that. So it poses many risks in danger. And the first screen, in fact, the loading screen is a statutory warning saying that please be aware of your surroundings, and just basically this is them saying, it ain't us. It's you. So be careful. We've told you.
That being said, though, I guess the one thing that is this is very similar to is Snapchat, because I found that a lot of people snap and drive.
Yeah?
And like a good chunk of my Snapchat feed is people like doing it while driving. And it's only 10-second videos, but then like you end up making a story, and a lot of people
That's
that like
crazy, man.
a lot of comedians and celebrities that like have like long running jokes. Basically as they're doing that are snapping and doing it. And it's I consider that the equivalent of like, texting while driving, or like being on a call while driving.
It's worse than that.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
If not worse. But then I wonder if,
so that I guess
it's been happening for a while, so I'm just wondering if we're going to get to the point where like there's just going to be that much more augmented reality stuff, that much more VR stuff. Like the phone is going to be so attached to your hip at all times, even when you're driving, even when you're bloody in the shower. Maybe
it already is.
Point.
I already gave you that stat. Remember, like 150 times a day is what the average human adult kind of checks his
and
or
I
her phone.
completely believe it.
Yeah.
But so I just wonder if like at the moment people are vehemently saying don't text while driving, and giving all those warnings, and as you say, there's a statutory warning as the opening screen. But then I think it might get to a point where like you just can't give those warnings anymore. It's like, this is life.
Yeah,
people are going to do this.
This is life. No,
and
there have been a couple of articles.
If you're going to die, you're going to die, and it's your own damn fault. And
this is a new way that people, dumb way to die.
It is.
Yeah, but it is life now. And somebody said, people have already been writing articles about how Pokemon Go is not a fad. It is life now. The reason why it works is because we are already like part of the whole Snapchat generation. We're already part of a generation which has, texting. It started with texting and it became photographs. Now it's Snapchat or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is. And now it's a game, and that's just what it is. It just is what it is. The one thing though I will say that not a hope, but a long time ago I read about an app that basically so your WhatsApp or whatever it is basically starts to use your camera so that when you're texting you can also see what's happening behind, because it makes a see-through layer. So by using the camera to do that. So I think Apple now is working on how to make messaging while doing other things much safer, and they're trying to patent some stuff. I don't know what they're working on, but apparently the next release of the iPhone and the Messenger system is supposed to be like safer or something.
So it's like one step closer to like Tony Stark's hologram.
Pretty much. I mean, well, we're all moving towards that. Yeah, I mean with wearable technology, and I just got myself a smart watch.
What?
Yeah.
When did you get that?
Yeah. So there was a Kickstarter campaign for Pebble 2. This sequel.
Oh, you haven't got it yet.
I've backed it, and it's coming now.
Nice.
But yeah, the whole point was because of this whole stat, that 150 times a day. I mean, I don't mind looking at my watch 150 times a day.
Yeah.
But like because when I reach for a message from my phone, that just leads me to do other things like Pokemon Go and like Twitter. It's just it's incessant, and it's too much, and we need to find ways to kind of curb that, because otherwise we're not doing anything else. Yeah, we're literally living in a digital world, for better or worse.
On that note,
the
reason I still subscribe to Marvel's Contest of Champions is because it's a freemium model.
Freemium, same. So the game that I play.
So Pokemon Go is not a freemium thing, right?
It's free.
So
absolutely free.
You can play it till the day you die. Like there's no end to it in that regard.
I'm sure there is going to be like
at the moment you don't get locked out, right? You can't like say, oh crap, I've like reached my limit for the day in any way. There's no like credit system or anything.
But I think there is going to be in-app purchases, like when people want to buy more Pokeballs or incense or whatever, or lures or whatever.
But you can keep playing at a baseline
freemium,
level.
Yeah. It's freemium as well.
So that's arguably the thing that keeps me going with Contest of Champions, because like
Pokemon Go is that way.
I don't trust myself to stop playing a game. But the fact that I play this game and locks me out within about 45 minutes max.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool.
But I mean, Pokemon Go that way is restricted by your movement. So unless you move to do stuff, and that's like the biggest killer of them all, right? Like why we play Galaxy of Heroes or Contest of Champions is because we can sit in one place for 45 minutes, play the game, and then we're done with it.
Yeah.
So I guess Pokemon Go is more like, I don't know what the end goal is like, because they have to monetize such subscribers, like such a number of subscribers. They have to, I guess, at some point, in a more like direct way. And the other thing is that, I don't know if they're trying to be also like part fitness, part getting people to get out of the house. I guess that, I mean, and it's a noble effort, I suppose. I don't know, putting an IP to, make sure you're moving and doing things. It's so weird. Like, they want you to get out of the house, but at the same time, it's through an app, right?
You gotta catch them all, and you also gotta get
Isn't that
swole.
the greatest irony of them all?
Right.
Wow. Anyway, we're gonna take a short break, and then we'll come back and talk about the two apps that Jishnu and I are passionate about to a ridiculous extent, more than Pokemon Go. And that's Marvel's Contest of Champions and Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
It's embarrassing.
Hi, I'm May, and I'm a huge fan of the indie music scene in our country. A scene that's relatively underground, even though it sometimes speaks its head overground. But there's no shortage of talent, and I get the privilege of interviewing some of the most awesome musicians on my show. I've had the likes of Euphoria, Krish Kale, Hardcore, Randolph Correa. I've had singer-songwriters, folk singers, electronic music producers, playback singers, rappers, fusion artists, instrumentalists, classical musicians, and so on. Whether mainstream or not, these people have chosen to release their original music, and these are the people currently shaping the direction in which our music scene is heading. Join me on my show every Monday and tune in to discover the unique talent coming out of India today.
And we're back. And Jishnu's eating Tic Tacs in the studio.
That wasn't as loud as I thought it would be.
It was pretty loud. I heard
it?
it. Yeah, I heard it.
All right,
yeah.
cool.
Everyone heard it. We're talking about app gaming. And we're speaking about Pokemon Go. Are you going to download it? No, just out of curiosity.
I will.
I think most people have downloaded
I'll
out
wait.
of curiosity.
I'll wait until it's actually released in India because I'm in no rush to get it. But I'll get it just out of sheer curiosity.
Also, yeah, because you have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a little harder because you can't download. Like, it's very
Apparently,
restrictive
you just change your region.
Yeah, but then you have to change your that changes your entire store and yada 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 things like that.
Yeah. Anyway,
is it a free app on?
I have no idea.
On the iPhone?
It's not available. I'm on the Indian store, obviously, so I can't even see it.
So I download even I'm having a Tic Tac. Sorry. But I had a, I got a APK file which was from the internet somewhere, I suppose. So I guess it is free. So for now, I guess if it's had so many downloads, I guess it
must
is
be free.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Coming back.
Contest of Champions.
Real,
Let me give you
real gaming. Give it to me, Jishnu.
Give you beautiful listeners
Genre.
perspective. Okay, so it is a classic beat 'em up, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter style game.
Nice.
Again, no end goal. It's a freemium model. So all you do is you play in the Marvel universe. That includes your Avengers and your X-Men, and then a few other
So does it
B-grade
have
and C-grade guys.
I know when they make deals, they only make them for the movies. But for TV and for gaming, I think it's still non-restrictive. So you have the entire Marvel universe.
Pretty much.
Cool. That's awesome.
They just now that Apocalypse happened, they introduced a lot of newer X-Men who are old X-Men who were just not in the game before.
You're saying that now because Apocalypse happened and Apocalypse was owned by Fox, so now these characters are being... But you said when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was happening, there was something else up. So those are two different...
so it's basically anybody under the umbrella of Marvel. Yeah.
Gets to... Oh, that's awesome.
But the really cool thing is, the thing that sort of keeps it vaguely interesting, because like I said, it's just a standard, typical, beat 'em up fighting game.
But do you have a story arc?
Not much to it. There is, but nobody really cares about the story. It's just more of like, hey, this week is this story now. You have 7 days to complete this quest.
Yeah.
And you can collect these rewards, and then the rewards will change next week with a different quest.
Correct.
You don't care about the quest. You just care about getting, the gems are different color this time. Cool.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess what I find neat and a little curious and really cool, because I'm so deeply invested in the MCU and a lot of the different entities within Marvel, is that for their marketing purposes, leading up to and just following the release of a new movie or the the restart of a show or a brand new show coming in, they will introduce one or two or as many as a handful of characters from said movie. So those
are for purchase though.
Not for purchase. I mean, it's all free. I mean,
No,
It's
as in
freemium.
no, it is freemium.
You can unlock those characters.
Yeah.
They're available.
Now they're available, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you want to buy them immediately,
You can't.
You
No,
have
you
to
can't.
pay.
You can't buy characters.
Okay, you can't.
Yeah, you can't buy characters.
You can't buy characters at all in your game?
The only thing you can buy is the ability to play the game for longer and to buy gems that will.
But gems will unlock.
They will unlock characters, but it's like it's a random
Oh,
system.
it's a random system,
Yeah, exactly.
right? That's the same for Star Wars, yeah.
Exactly, which is what keeps it that so addictive, because it's literally you can buy the ability to like play on the slot machine.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was really cool because I started playing the game a little bit before Ant-Man came out. So that was like a year or
Right,
something
yeah.
ago.
I remember, yeah.
And it was really cool because
That's when we lost you.
Yeah, basically. I got to play as the Yellow Jacket before the movie came out. And so I got to see, what he was like and what his powers were. And I was like, well, that
That's
was
cool
neat.
for fans, though.
Yeah, it's cool. And so, like, when Punisher came out, they introduced the Punisher. When his Netflix season
appearance.
2 came out
Yeah.
of Daredevil. Things like that. And now, like I said, because Apocalypse happened, characters like Beast have shown up and
So
Nightcrawlers.
are they made like the movie versions?
So that's another really cool thing. They'll do both. So there are some classic characters that have been there from day one. So, like, for example, Vision was always there.
Classic Vision?
Classic Vision.
Okay.
And then Ultron happened, and then they put out his Ultron costume, Age of Ultron costume.
Nice.
So, like
The
cinematic
Paul Bettany one, yeah.
the Paul Bettany version. And there are like 3 versions of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Classic, Miles Morales and
yeah.
the symbiote suit.
Nice.
So it's all these like little, nods and whatnot. So now what I have to look forward to, I can imagine, is when Doctor Strange comes around, he's already in the game. But
They'll make Benedict
one,
version, yeah.
One, definitely make one for Benedict. Well, he already kind of does look a lot like Benedict.
This is true.
But I'm sure they'll introduce, Chiwetel Ejiofor,
Nice.
Or something like that. Or
Baron
maybe,
Mordo.
yeah,
Yeah.
or something in that realm. And so it's kind of neat because then there's something vaguely fresh that happens.
So, do you have like a ranking system though? Like,
Yeah,
So,
so-
what's your rank and what's your level, Jishnu? What's your rank?
My rank, I don't know, because the ranks like are in the tens of thousands.
Okay, cool.
So I'm like, I don't even know,
Okay.
30,000 something.
Oh,
But then I don't
damn.
know how. There are millions of players, so
Yeah.
it's kind of pointless saying the rank. I'm level 45. If that
Nice.
means anything, that
Yes.
shouldn't really mean anything to anybody.
No,
But,
it does. Do you have a cap? Like, what's the highest
no,
level?
I don't think there's a cap.
Okay, cool.
There's no cap.
All right.
I am the highest. This is where it gets weird. So you join alliances,
Right.
Which in Galaxy of Heroes
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the same principle, right? So
Yeah.
you join a horde or an alliance or whatever you want to
Guild
call it.
in,
A
it's
guild.
called a guild in
Yeah,
ours.
a
Yeah.
league or whatever. So you cap them at like 30 players, and so you just join them randomly. And I luckily found a friend of mine in Bombay who also played the game, and I was like, sweet, I'll just join your alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really neat because then we can call each other up and be like, hey, do your bit. I see that you haven't played today. I need you to beat
Yeah.
up that guy so I can beat up the other guy next to him. And that's kind of fun. But basically,
That's a cool system, though, man.
it is
That's
a really
great
cool system. And like I've, become friends with some of these people. I'm making air quotes. You
Yeah,
can see that. And it's kind of cool because there's not much strategy involved, but it's just a matter of like, okay, we are all clearly all over the world.
Yeah.
Some guys in God knows where at any point in time. And so we sort of just have to try and like coordinate like, okay, at 5 a.m. my time,
Yeah.
it's going to be 6 p.m. your time. At 7:30, guys, we're going to do this.
Nice.
And then you just all try and coordinate. And it's a simple, 5 seconds worth of effort to like, tell everybody to
Yeah,
do that. But
this is true.
it kind of makes you feel like, hey, wow, I'm like talking to 29 or 28 other random strangers, and then we're all playing at the same time. And
Yeah,
kinda-
it's cool. It is cool. I agree.
It's-
Yeah,
it's-
there's something similar that happens on Star Wars.
So
also, yeah.
basically, like I said at the beginning, what I like about it the most is the fact that it's a freemium model. So you have limited number of credits that you can play at a time. Basically, with every fight, depending on what kind of fight it is,
Yeah.
you give up that many credits.
Right.
And so at the end of a certain amount of time, your credits will run out.
Yeah.
And then it takes
Yeah, there's a build-up time.
It takes 6 minutes per credit, so it takes a while to build up again.
Right.
And unless you want to pay money, you have to wait for how long it
But
takes.
can you replenish those by spending crystals on them?
Yeah, exactly.
You can, right?
So
Uh-huh.
so it's
And you make crystals anyway through like daily stuff,
yeah,
right?
there are a whole bunch of ways to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
basically, all I'm getting at is that the game has an inbuilt lockout system, and that's
It's
beautiful.
true. Yeah,
because,
for freemium
yeah,
users.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
So-
Star Wars is pretty much the same, I'd say. I think it's because I guess it's all Disney. I think they have a similar kind of system. I don't know who's the creator of your game. Like who's
Kabam.
Kabam. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there's EA Play EA is the guys who are doing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and I happened to catch their E3 what do you call
Sure.
it? EA's E3 thing. And obviously because this is just like a mobile game and it's not like their Hallmark game. Like they have Battlefront and they have other things. So I literally, I must have been the only person who skipped through Battlefront just to get to, what are they talking about? Galaxy of Heroes. And it was like literally for like 2 minutes, but they spoke about how they're doing. It was kind of interesting that they're using these games now as a CSR kind of thing. I don't know if you had some in Marvel's Contest of Champions, but basically for like a Women's Day or something like that, they did across all these different games like Battlefront and Old Republic and Galaxy of Heroes, they did like a special women's kind of event kind of thing, challenge. So basically for Battlefront is like you could unlock a character and stuff like that. For Galaxy of Heroes it was so we have different kind of things. You can have like normal challenges, you can have events, you have your normal battles, and then you have events, and events are what are like, you know, what you were talking about, like 7-day events or 5-day events,
Right,
like that. So there are a few of those. Some are repetitive, some like, you know, normal ones, and the main ones are like things like this. So there was one where you could only use female characters and you could unlock like basically the materials that you could use to power up your characters. It's so nerdy.
I mean,
but it's the same, right?
It's the same engine. Yeah.
So that was cool because they did it like across different games, and I thought that was quite interesting that they made like a special offer and things like that. So like it was like at a discounted rate you could buy so you could buy bundles, like, you know, you could buy bundles, and then you have things like which are called guaranteed characters, you know, so that you could get those. So it's cool. Galaxy of Heroes ultimately kind of operates the same way. The cool thing about Galaxy of Heroes is that literally I just didn't even realize this until I actually played the game, but it literally is a universe full of characters in Star Wars. So there are a bunch of people that you wouldn't normally like interact with at the movie level, but that you really like.
Example?
Like, for example, so there's one character from Clone Wars called Savage Opress who's like Darth Maul's brother. So it's like, and he's a big character in Clone Wars, and like, and you really like him.
But he's like a C-grade character.
Yeah, he's a C-lister, if you will. Yeah,
absolutely.
But you get to play as him and use his powers and things like that. And it's really cool. And they've done the powers really like smartly in that sense. Like so the two biggest characters in the game are Han Solo and Yoda. And for both you need to do like really crazy bizarre stuff.
So
Yoda is like the biggest event challenge, which happens like once every 2 months only.
Yeah.
And you have to have like 5 Jedi at all times with a certain star level.
You have to prepare for those.
You have to really prepare for those. So I've done like 3 of them, and I'm like we have to collect shards to collect characters. You know, like So I've done a few of those. And the other main character is Han Solo. You have to do what you have in yours, which is an alliance. In this game, it's called guilds.
Yeah.
And you have to. So there's only one guild event because they just started it, which is you have to face a rancor, which is cool. So it's interesting, it's fun and stuff like that, and you get Han Solo shards from that, which I can't even unlock because it's so far ahead of me.
Sure.
So the funny thing was, I think of late both of us have been on like Twitter sprees and stuff like that, and I might add that Mark Hamill liked my tweet. So that was like ultimate fan moment ever. I was tweeting something random and I just quoted his tweet and then he liked my tweet.
Blink-182 liked my tweet.
Yeah, seriously, dude, Twitter's the best.
Made my night.
We basically got into Twitter 10 years later. And like it was cool because then I put out a tweet saying Mark Hamill liked my tweet, my life is officially downhill, and then he liked that tweet, and then Mark Hamill was trolling me. So it was great. So the other person that I tweeted was Cole Horton. He's a writer at StarWars.com, and he kind of like he's basically one of the game developers for Galaxy of Heroes. So I tweeted him and he tweeted back and we had this cool conversation. I asked him what's going to be... So today, at the day of this recording, tomorrow is Star Wars Celebration.
So pumped.
So excited.
My weekend is dead because I'm just going to be like live streaming the entire time.
Just for everybody who's interested in Star Wars Celebration, it's a once a year annual event. That's what once a year means. That basically covers everything. This year they're talking about, they have a couple of panels which are really, really interesting. They have obviously Rogue One, which is the main panel. Gareth Edwards is going to be there with Kathleen Kennedy. And they have the Rebels, which I've tagged you in on a post just
I saw it last night.
Yeah.
I saw it last night.
Oh, you saw it last night?
Yeah,
Dude, it looks insane. So we've done an episode of Star Wars Rebels earlier this year. And Season 3, they're going to be talking about that. They're going to get the entire cast. The guy who, spoiler alert, plays Darth...
No,
I shouldn't do it. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I won't say anything. But the guy who's in... I can't do it. Okay, but yeah, basically they have a great cast coming. So the guy who's going to be at Celebration, they're going to be announcing more updates to Galaxy of Heroes, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to watch it, it's being live streamed from StarWars.com anyway. So
by
you
the time
guys
you get this episode, it'll already be out. But
this is true.
But the live stream will be available in its entirety. So.
Yeah. The entire episode will
And they said it's roughly about 24 hours of just
footage.
Star Wars nerding out.
That's crazy.
On a live stream.
That's
so
crazy. Yeah.
If you have nothing better to do,
Dude, a lot of my life goes in watching
Yeah,
these live
exactly.
streams, man. Like for
we
even
need to really check our priorities in life.
Yeah, E3, man. Oh my god, I just spent like literally hours watching. Like I saw Sony's, I saw Bethesda, I saw Ubisoft. Just like, and it's just interesting how gaming is such a huge community.
So I want to come back to the similarity and the difference between Galaxy and Contest because they're both now under the same umbrella. Disney. Being Disney, right?
Yeah.
So here is one thing that I loved about Contest and just Marvel in general is because the fact that obviously they have so many different properties just in film and TV alone, let alone the comic books.
Right.
They have so many things coming out at all times. Like every month there's something new, or every 2 months there's definitely something new with Marvel coming out.
Right.
Plus comics every week. And now we're in the time where like characters are getting, reborn and like resurrected and then handing down the hammer to somebody else and things like that. So what I love about Champions is that I get those updates via a game.
Yeah.
So like I get to play as Kamala, the new Captain Marvel, before she is released, like before the comic comes out. And that's really cool. As a fan and as a very avid fan who's very actively...
It's a nice thing.
It's a great thing
for a fan,
which makes the video game sort of transcend beyond just like, here's an established set of rules, now play my little game. I'm getting more. I'm like, I feel like the creators at Marvel are giving me like a bonus. Like, hey, by the way, because you're willing to play this stupid little game for so long,
it's true,
with nothing else,
I feel
you
like
can do that. But I still feel like with Star Wars, like you said, obviously, like the universe is humongous, but they don't put out new content nearly as fast as
not yet, because it's fairly
stuff,
much younger. Like that's why my rank at Galaxy of Heroes is also 982 in the world.
Wow,
it's not bad. But
I'm imagining that when Rogue One comes out, or when like season 3 of Rebels come out, they'll be like, hey. So like when I played in May and April when Civil War was coming out, they had a really cool thing, which was they had it was like a month-long thing broken up into 2 weeks where you had two opportunities to pick a side. Right? You choose Team Cap or Team Iron Man. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And then based on which team you choose, you get different like bonus upgrades and rewards and whatnot. So you play for 2 weeks as one team, and then you have a chance to change over or whatever. And so that kind of made you feel a little bit more inclusive in their whole marketing of the thing. Like it's a big gimmick, but at the end of the day, it did feel really cool having just watched the movie and then coming home and playing on Team Cap and like seeing
that is cool. I will say though, the only
movie.
reason why there are a couple of reasons for that. One is obviously Galaxy of Heroes is much younger in the sense that Marvel has been doing their movies and their just all their properties across Fox and Marvel Studios and all that stuff for a while now. So they've been doing it for a while. Star Wars has only just reappeared as a force to reckon with, pun intended. And like the good thing is that now there's going to be a steady flow of Star Wars movies coming out every year. So there's one movie a year. It's going to be not long before there are going to be 2 movies a year, just like what Marvel is doing pretty much. So I am excited about how they're going to update the game so that it reflects much quicker. I'm really excited about Rebels because I hope we have as of now we don't have Rebels characters in.
Oh, nothing at all.
No. We have Clone Wars characters who have appeared in Rebels.
Do you have like the
we have
Inquisitors and stuff?
No Inquisitors.
Wow.
I know, which
That's
seems like
strange.
a waste, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is that they have characters which they're withheld. Like, for example, I have Rey, in my team from Force Awakens, but I have Rey from the movie, which is like she has a staff.
Yeah.
But then there's a final level after like 5 entire like rounds of things that you get to fight Rey, but like the Rey with like the lightsaber. Which is like which I saw and I lost my shit. Like it was awesome. And like similarly there's one with Emperor Palpatine. I have the Darth Sidious character, but I don't have Emperor Palpatine, and you get to fight him and Vader. So that's like, so I think that they have these characters, they have not unlocked them, and that's strange. But yeah, hopefully with Celebration happening, now.
What is lightsaber Rey called?
I can't remember. I think it's just called Rey, but in brackets. So what they do is they put in brackets. So like, I have Chewbacca, but it's Clone Wars Chewbacca. They don't have an official Chewbacca. They have a Clone Wars Chewbacca. So it's strange.
Because I'm wondering, like, if you give Rey a gun, is she
a Ray gun? Yeah. Oh, Ray gun, dude.
Laser Ray.
or that. I mean, sure.
Like, come on.
By the way, last really cool thing before we cut for another break. This is amazing. Remember how we were talking about how Clone Wars characters or Rebels characters to try and make their way into movies? It's happened now, man. So Forrest Whitaker's character is a character from Clone Wars. So
Who's he?
Saw Gerrera. He's this character who has appeared in. I mean, he's kind of like a. He's kind of like a morally grey guy who's been there in Clone Wars, which makes now watching Clone Wars like almost like really like I really want to go back and watch Clone Wars again. And you see his entire history of being a young guy, and now they reveal that Saw Gerrera is Forrest Whitaker's character. So that's going to be like, it's the first time that's happened where like an animated thing has now made it a movie. I'm really, really excited about that.
Sweet.
Yeah. So cool. That's our Star Wars and Marvel update with Pokemon. And speaking, last thing. Actually, Galaxy of Heroes is a lot like Pokemon Go in the sense that it's a lot like Pokemon in the sense that that's the same. It's a turn-by-turn RPG kind of battle.
Like Final Fantasy.
Exactly.
That was my first thought when I saw it.
So you guys should check out all these games. Check out Pokemon Go. Obviously, you have, and check out definitely, if that's not your cup of tea, definitely Marvel's Contest of Champions. If you want a game that you can invest in and that will give you rewards as a fan, as a nerd, then definitely Marvel's Contest of Champions and Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes are the ones to go and play. Yeah, so that's it. Join our guilds, join our alliances, and join us on Geek Fruit.
You nerds. Geek Fruit is an IVM production, and if you happen to like our show, then you're probably going to like the Poudcast, a Bombay-based food and culture podcast hosted by the Daily Pow. So if you want to check out cool stuff in Bombay, you know where to listen.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcast, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcast galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.